I know I was entirely wrong, but I just saw the crossover classics, and for some reason it looked like Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. We're doing a Goosebumps comic. No.
Ermagerd!
Ermagerd,
Are there
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps comics?
No. There is a Goosebumps book about comics.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
in
a comic
it,
character.
yeah.
Comes to life and
Yeah.
friggin'
Well,
terrorizes people. Or...
No, he goes into the comic book world.
Oh, it goes into
Yeah.
the comic, yeah.
Incidentally, in the comic book store that he visits, they don't reference any comic book characters in it except for Spawn.
Really?
Because he was the most popular one at that time. And I think because the Goosebump author wanted his attention.
So that book, you can narrow down when that book was written to like a
1996.
3-year window,
Yeah.
2-year window.
Yeah. It's
I remember
amazing.
having quite a few of those books.
Oh,
Yeah. I hated them. Because I read Fear Street, and then R.L. Stine, like, doubled down on fucking Goosebumps and pushed my friend's dad, who painted all the covers for Fear Street, out and replaced it with cartoony horseshit. And I was like, fuck you, Goosebumps.
I never had any of the Fear Street books, which was a shame.
Let me tell you something, man.
Goosebumps was for younger.
It was for but, like, there were no more Fear Streets after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it's funny, because I was like, how does this man write so many novels? And my mom was like, R.L. Stine is a brand name. There's no guy named R.L. Stine. It's a brand that is headed up by like 16 writers who all write the same thing. And
Whoa!
Yeah.
Are you meaning to tell me that the Goosebumps movie starring Jack Black
is not
is
really
a lie?
Actually, well, yes, but as it turns out, there really is an R.L. Stine. And he really is the author of all that shit.
He actually wrote all of them?
Yeah!
Wow.
Yeah. And he occasionally will go to cons, and occasionally I will think to myself, I should say hello, and then I never do.
No.
Because
it's
no.
R.L. Stine.
Because it's R.L. Stine.
He's not anyone. You don't even know what he fucking looks like.
I know what he looks like.
Well, now
I've
you
seen
do.
his picture everywhere thanks to the cons, but I'm like, yeah, he looks like a chubby 40-something-year-old who has a lot of energy for his age and weight.
You know, just because there's a guy doesn't mean he wrote all those books.
Well,
he would have had, like, editorial control.
Yeah, I think it's
of
more
all
like
those
he goes, okay, R.L. Stine. It's like Garfield.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a Jim Davis, and he did write Garfield
And Jim
once.
Davis has signed on every comic, but...
Yeah, he wrote his
There are
name.
a lot of little stories that come up.
Well,
Where it's
and-
like, I have a Garfield idea.
Oh, no,
Alright,
he has...
fine, put it in.
Jim Davis has like a fucking Henry Ford factory
Yeah.
for Garfield. There's just thousands of people who know how to draw Garfield exactly like he drew it, and they just do that.
Yeah, he does not draw Garfield.
No, he hasn't drawn Garfield in like 40 years.
Yeah.
Also, no one's read Garfield in like 40
That's
Well,
true.
that also. Well, he cares about it exactly as much as anybody.
Yeah, as anybody
Which is
would
to say
to
not
read it.
at all.
Yeah. I will say, though, I loved Garfield and Friends.
The show?
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun.
Lorenzo Music inspired casting. Unbelievable. He's the voice of Garfield and Pete Venkman for like a season or two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I thought that Garfield in the show was voiced by
Bill Murray? That's amazing.
For a little
because-
while.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid.
That was the idea. That's why Lorenzo Music got fired off of the real Ghostbusters. Because Bill Murray's like, he's doing a Bill Murray impression. And I thought we agreed that you were going to do other versions of the Ghostbusters that were technically our characters, but not us. He sounds too much like me, fire that guy. So they fired Lorenzo Music. And then they hired Dave Coulier of Full House fame.
Wow.
And he did a Lorenzo Music impression. Which was horseshit. Because you could tell. Because like Lorenzo Music just sounded like fucking Garfield being Pete Venkman.
Yeah.
Dave
Coulier.
Dave Coulier sounded like, he sounded like fucking Santa from our Christmas specials.
Also, Dave Coulier
You don't want to sound like that.
sucks.
He does suck. But he did get to bang Alanis Morissette.
He did. He did.
He banged her so hard that she wrote a song, and it's her best song ever about him banging her. Can you imagine? Dave Coulier? Would you like some world? Like, what is that?
That was an innuendo.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why
what is
what is so
attractive?
sexually appealing about Dave Coulier?
Those like funny guys.
I mean, look, there's nightclubs full of comedians with lots of sexual material that would prove that is true. Unless they're all working together like the Jim Davis Factory. All the comedians,
whole lot.
they all work together. Okay,
Stories
what does a
from
boob
someone
feel
else.
like?
I don't think so.
Let's marginalize an entire gender.
If we were gonna say that any comedian probably had not had sex in their entire life,
Dan Cook.
what?
No, Dane Cook must get all kinds of tail.
I think he did. Like,
Oh.
10 years ago.
Well,
but
I don't even know what.
no, I
looks
mean
like now.
he insists upon himself.
I was gonna say Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt, he's married and has a kid.
Wait,
we know
is
at
he?
least we know at least Patton Oswalt has sex one time.
At least once.
Yes.
What's the giant guy?
Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
He's
Wait.
married too.
No,
Not Jim Gaffigan. Not Jim Gaffigan, who's
Oh,
Not the glasses.
Brian Posehn.
Yes, Brian Posehn.
Brian Posehn is married. I
He's
believe.
also married and has a kid.
Yeah, but that's just for money, right?
No. Brian Posehn does not have the Patton Oswalt dollars. Brian Posehn never played a CG character created by Pixar. Brian Posehn played nobody. He's amazing though.
Yeah.
He's a guy I remember seeing him on like a Comedy Central Presents thing, and he comes up and he's just like, "Argh!" And I'm like, this guy is my comedian. Like, I've never seen a comedian who literally appeals to my sense of... I was like, that guy is fucking amazing. Yeah. And the audience, half of it wasn't laughing. I'm like, oh yeah.
That just confirms it.
That confirms it. And then I found another special of his later, like maybe came out like 10 years ago, but I found it like a year ago, and it's superb. It's funny as shit. But yeah, he definitely does not look like he gets laid.
No.
Most of the guys who looks like they don't get laid also have great material in their acts in which they acknowledge that, though.
Yes.
Like, Brian Posehn talks about he wants to be in movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, the only sex scene I'm in is when I'm watching the sex scene through a window with a mask on or a knife in my hand. Like, that's the part in a movie in which a sex scene is taking place that I can play. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, because no one wants to see
Because you're
that.
9 feet tall and look like you came out of a swamp. Anyway.
You're a hairless Bigfoot.
Yeah, although he does have, like, a big, scary beard.
Now he does, yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. When people grow a big stupid beard, and then, like, they're like, that's my look now.
Yeah.
Dan Slott, for example, he looked like a giant baby, and then he grew a huge beard, and he's doubled down on that for, like, 2 years.
Because he looks like a giant baby.
He did-
People said he looked like a giant baby.
Yeah, because someone said it out loud, and he's
Some
like,
asshole
fuck that
said he looked like a giant
beard!
baby.
Oh, like when Joaquin Phoenix also had that giant beard. Like a hobo beard.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a hobo beard. He really did. He looked like he
That is
traveled...
not okay.
He looked like he traveled via boxcar.
Maybe he did.
I
Method
mean-
actor.
He definitely is one of those.
Yeah, he, went back to ancient Rome and decided to be a Caesar
Yeah.
before he...
No,
threw
well,
Maximus in.
he needs a microcosm. Like, he took over, like, rats, and he made them fight. And he, like, decided whether or not they were fucked.
But he would give the rats, like, tiny little tools.
Oh,
And then he
yeah.
would toss a cat in there.
Or he would tape little tools to their little hands. And be like, and they didn't know what to do, because they're animals.
Basically toothpicks.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in cockfights, you put like spikes on their
On their
and the
beaks.
spurs on their feet. So
Oh,
they can
really?
Tear each other apart. Yeah.
Cockfighting, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's
Are
not
we
enough.
Well,
that
like
they can,
cockfighting
that
and
they attack each
dogfighting.
other.
Yeah,
You
like
give
any
animal
organized
fighting
animal
against
fighting.
each other.
Are we that bored as a species? It's pretty much the glass
Yes.
ceiling for humanity, right? Like, fuck it, I don't know. You've literally everything at your disposal, and it costs you pennies on the dollar, and you're like, I'm gonna take a domesticated animal and force it to kill another one.
Well, I mean, roosters are not exactly
It's a cultural
domesticated.
thing.
Is it, or is it just an asshole thing?
The time I've ever seen animal fighting that looked cool was
Yeah.
in Samurai Champloo, where they had, like, these two beetles going against each other.
Bugs is fine.
Exactly! Insects are fine. They're not a higher life
Where's
form.
the line? Where
Wasp
do we draw
fight-
the line? What about a mouse?